Hey everyone, it's Amia Khan here with a Fox 10 News Now update. Joining me is Steve Kraft. Steve had asked me right before we went on air if I had theme music for Fox 10 News Now, and I said no because I don't think we have the legal rights to it, and he claims that he created this music himself.
Yeah.
So hopefully we won't have any copyright issues, Steve.
Do you like it?
What?
Do you like it?
I mean, it's great. I don't know if it'll be our official theme song, but it's nice.
You're
Maybe
going to have to get the rights to it.
from
You
you.
wanted to make it your official song.
All right. Well, thanks for playing that, Steve. It's a nice opening to our
Nice musical
show.
interlude. Now I'm going to just fade it out just like we do, see?
Have you ever thought about a career in DJing?
I was a DJ, so yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fun facts about
a DJ,
Steve
as they say.
Kraft.
Yeah.
When were you a DJ?
Well, it was sort of the early days of the raves and,
All right. So I can't ever tell if you're being serious or joking. Right?
No, I was a disc jockey in college.
Okay.
Did a lot of progressive rock DJing.
Okay.
And it was great. It was just a great experience. I learned more there than any class I ever sat through.
Well, that's interesting.
Yep.
That's good to know.
I
Well,
learned how to do this job at a college radio station.
really? Well, I brought you up here not to talk about DJing, although it's a very interesting topic, and I'd like to know more about your early years.
Anytime, yeah. Can fill
but-
you in. It's quite a
but-
long story.
I know you know why you're here. You know,
Yeah.
it's our
Yeah,
weekly,
yeah.
sometimes multiple times a week, Jodi Arias update.
Daily.
Yeah, not every day. I didn't have you yesterday to talk about Arias.
That's true.
You know,
Just
but
because I came back too late.
the
That was not by design, by the way. It was
that's
an
true.
accident.
I was going to have you yesterday. But anyways, the point is a lot is happening and everyone's asking. I mean, the thing that I'm noticing a lot on our YouTube channel, for example, comments that people have made.
Right.
When is this trial going to be over? When is it over?
Well, when is anything really over?
When it's over? I mean, is that
All right,
a
let me bring you up to speed.
figurative question or
Well, we don't know when it's going to be over is the short answer,
Mm-hmm.
the direct answer. But the more interesting answer is that the judge yesterday asked the jurors, the remaining jurors, if they had any problem with this trial stretching into February. So what she's saying is this trial may easily go another month, and do jurors have a problem with that? There she is, Judge Sherry Stevens. And if they have a problem with it, would they please come forward and tell her? So she anticipates that this trial that began, back in September, I think it was, could easily go through February, perhaps even beyond, because the deliberations may be lengthy. And if that does happen, that will mean that this sentencing retrial will have taken as long or longer than the original criminal trial.
that's insane. Okay, so wait, how long was the original criminal trial and
Well, it's
how
about-
long has this
You're talking about 6 months, give or take, half a year.
right, and how
trial.
long have we been
Well,
on
we
this?
got in this, late September, if memory serves. We were in September. Jody testified in October. Mm-hmm. And then we had November and then December, and we're well into January.
That makes 5
and
months.
she may go through February.
Wow.
So, we'll blow right past Valentine's Day probably with this. And, we could go well into the spring potentially, but certainly into the next month. Mm-hmm. I think that's safe to say because the judge wouldn't have asked people, can you stick around through next month if she didn't think that it was going to take that long.
Right. And real quick, you viewers that are watching right now, if you see on the side of YouTube, there's an interactive chat. So if you have any questions for Steve about the Arias trial, we can actually answer those live right here. So feel free to submit any questions you have for Steve.
Right.
Okay, so now you're not going back to court this week.
No, there is no testimony until next Tuesday.
Okay.
Of course, next Monday is Martin Luther King's birthday. It's a holiday, so it's a national holiday. So we will not be having court that day. But next Tuesday, the 20th, we will start up again. And the man on the stand will be Dr. Robert Geffner. He's a guy from San Diego who testified at great length about going through all the correspondence and the emails, etc., texts between Jodi Arias and Travis Alexander to try to figure out what was so poisonously wrong in that relationship that resulted in this explosion of murderous violence that got Jodi convicted of first-degree murder. Never lose sight of the fact she is a convicted first-degree murderer. This is only about how she will be punished. So he'll be up Tuesday, And I think they'll pretty swiftly get right into cross-examination, and that will be a brutal cross-examination because prosecutor Juan Martinez has to really pull the rug out from under Dr. Geffner, who was very gabby and blithe, sort of talking about all these intricacies of their relationship, and the prosecutor is going to say, come on, man. First of all, you're a junk scientist, and what do you really know about this? And you don't have a distinguished career as a doctor, and you're no more qualified than anybody to discern what was going on, and you don't have intimate knowledge of that, etc. So it will be a pitched battle between this doctor, who is basically a professional witness in many respects. He goes around testifying quite a bit, and the prosecutor, who has only one style, and that is attack dog, and only one speed, and that's overdrive.
We have one comment so far from Jose Coronado. 16 hours, question mark?
16 hours about what?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Jose, come on. Give me a little bit more here to work with.
I don't
Just
know.
this so far. Well, 16 hours.
Of Jodi Arias? No, we have a lot more.
Well, I mean, she did testify for 2 days.
Right. Okay, well, I guess that maybe that's what it is, 16 hours.
And it's possible that she may be back on the
That
witness stand.
probably makes sense, the 16 hours
Yeah.
now. If we say 2 days, 8 hours a day,
It might
I think
be.
we figured it out.
She might be testifying some more. And if she does, she could be subject to cross-examination too. Of course, the prosecutor could move to withdraw her testimony and pull it, but if that happens,
The testimony we've already read.
the secret testimony that came out this week in those transcripts of 249 pages. But if the testimony is pulled, the jury is left with sort of a view of Jodi Arias that's largely sympathetic, very sympathetic to her, that will have been unchallenged by the state.
Right.
So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
So even if the judge removes the testimony, I mean, the testimony's heard, right? So it's going
Right.
to influence the people who heard it regardless of whether it's removed.
Regardless of whether they're told to disregard it.
Right.
There's a concept in law in which law students are told you cannot unring a bell. Meaning, once, boom, something comes out,
You've heard it.
you've heard it.
Right.
And it's hard to eliminate it. And
Sure.
it's made an impression on you.
Right.
Now, I got to talk about something else.
What's that?
But it's related to the trial.
Okay, because we do have another viewer question.
Okay, we'll
do you
get
want to
to-
get that, or do you want to talk about what you have?
Alfredo, thanks for getting in touch with us. We'll be right with you. But
Okay,
I would
Alfredo.
be remiss in my duties as a journalist if I didn't tell you this.
Okay.
This came down yesterday at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
This is the... There you go. Good picture of it. Extreme close-up. Love it. That is a ruling by Judge Stevens, and it runs 16, 17 pages. It's in great detail. There were many, many different grounds upon which the defense wanted her to take the death penalty off the table, or even declare, the trial, throw out the verdict.
Right.
Anyway. But anyway, that didn't happen, nor did the judge intervene to rule that because of alleged misconduct by prosecutors and inability for witnesses to come forward and testify for mitigation in Jodi's behalf to spare her life, that the judge should remove the death penalty from these deliberations, which would have, in effect, ended this proceeding, just with life in prison. And the judge pretty much rejected, in fact, did reject every single contention, 17 of them, by the defense. Among other things, most significantly, the defense had said that prosecutors were guilty of misconduct for concealing information of pornography and
The
Travis's
computer files, right?
or then later improperly dealing with his computer to alter files that were on the computer and not sharing what they knew and not being truthful about it. The judge said that was not central to the conviction and that actually the defense had access to the information about pornography but chose not to go down that road during the criminal trial.
And so the judge is saying that
It wasn't that big a deal.
Right, exactly. If it was a big deal, it would have been brought up in the criminal trial. Is
Right,
what
and they
the
because
assertion
in the
is.
criminal trial they basically were saying that this all happened because Jodi was trying to defend herself against an physically abusive Travis, and that's how he got killed in a panic. Jury clearly did not buy that, and now to try to cling to this misconduct with a computer, the judge didn't think it was crucial to the verdict, and that in fact the waters were sufficiently muddy that she couldn't make a definitive decision on that. So that did not suffice to take the death penalty off the table, nor did this alleged supposed fear by supporters of Jodi Arias that they couldn't go in that courtroom and give testimony freely about how she's not as bad as you think, because they would be afraid of repercussions, people physically threatening them, people cyber stalking them,
Sure.
and all those types of things. The judge said, you know what, if you want to come forward and testify on Jodi's behalf, you can submit an affidavit to the court and we'll read it in the court. You can go and be videoed and we'll play your video in the court. And that just isn't enough reason for me to derail these proceedings because you say you're scared to talk to us. So that didn't suffice either. And there were a lot of other claims here. Some of them seemed a little frivolous to me. Mm-hmm. One of them, most interestingly, was Prosecutor Martinez had signed autographs outside the courthouse because he became something of a folk hero to some people.
Celebrity?
Yeah, during the criminal trial, and that kind of poisoned the well for her getting a fair trial, so she shouldn't receive the death penalty. That was just dismissed out of hand by the judge.
So they're just really trying to, bring up anything that they could possibly present.
Right, which is what a lawyer should do. I mean, that's
their job.
Someone's life hangs in the balance here, and a good defense lawyer will take that spaghetti and throw as much of it as possible against the wall to see if anything at all sticks. So the bottom line here is that, yes, this was all rejected, but it is preserved as grounds for appeal. And if Jodi gets a death penalty, this will be appealed for many years, and judges up the line in the appeals courts and even beyond will get to read all of this stuff. Because if you don't make the argument at the trial, it's very difficult to make the argument later on, because you have to exhaust your remedies at the trial stage, and if you kind of wait to make your case until after your client's convicted, that's not a good idea for lawyers. So they make all of these seemingly hopeless and tedious points, preserving grounds for appeal for future legal papers that they're going to submit down the road if she does get death.
Right.
And we've had a lot of death penalties over the years that have been overturned because of exactly, these types of issues that down the line other appeals courts saw it differently than the trial judge.
Right. Well, actually, speaking of the death penalty, I want to go to Alfredo Pacheco Jr.'s question. Based on how the testimonies have went, what do you feel the verdict may be? Does the prosecutor have any chance of getting the death penalty?
Of course, the prosecutor has a chance of getting a death penalty, and they would not be proceeding down this path if they didn't feel that they have a solid chance. And this is a jurisdiction that is sympathetic to the death penalty. It's not like we're trying this case in Portland, Oregon, or San Francisco, or LA, or a place where you might have maybe a more difficult time to get 12 jurors to agree. This is a prosecutor-friendly jurisdiction in many ways, and they feel that they have a chance, and they feel strongly on the merits that what she did was sufficiently heinous that it merits a death penalty, and they also feel that defending the loved ones of Travis Alexander, who we should never forget about, that she deserves to die for being so brutal to him. So, yes, they have a chance of getting the death penalty. On the other hand, there is a very good chance that she doesn't get the death penalty because the jury split 8-4 the first time around in favor of death. So that was one third of the jury could not give her the death penalty.
Right.
So why do we assume, especially since everybody pretty much, whatever people say, everyone's familiar with this case, why should we assume it's going to be different the second time around and those 4 votes will all be death votes this time? That seems like a reach. And also, this is essentially a case of obsessive love. It's a crime of an extreme crime, but it's a crime of passion and madness, or at least temporary madness. So the question is, if that's the case, will jurors give a death penalty for a crime of passion? That could be difficult too. And we just don't know and can't read the minds of those people. Mm-hmm. So I cannot give you any better guess than you can give, Alfredo, or that you can give, Samia. I mean, who knows? But you could make the case either way that she could get the death penalty, or very clearly she could not get the death penalty.
Well, thank you for that question, Alfredo. Now, I have my own question. By the way, I have a suggestion real quick. Can you just check your phone and retweet what Fox 10 just tweeted? I'm just just so your followers can know that you're answering questions right now.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
I know. I just wanted to intervene before you leave the set, and then, all your thousands of followers had no idea that you were up here.
Yeah.
They need to know. So while you do that,
I want the peeps to know all about this.
You have to know. So just, there's your mention right there. Just send that.
My little...
I don't know. You have a different app than I do. But, okay, so my question is, if I understand correctly, no video. Actually, before I answer that question, it looks like Alfredo Pacheco Jr. has sent us a follow-up question.
Oh,
Thank you,
great
Alfredo.
help.
How many times can Jodi appeal if she gets the death penalty? Is there a limit? Thank you, Alfredo. I really like the interactiveness of it. Like, people watch, then they send another question. And honestly, most questions that are sent in are answered. We try to get to as many as possible, so viewers, don't be shy. Send them our way.
First of all, I want you all to know I just retweeted.
Okay, great. Thank
So
you.
everybody out there, you got it. And the answer to your question, Alfredo, is this trial is the end of the line. Let me answer it broadly. This is the last time the trial system has a shot at Jodi Arias. So if prosecutors don't win on this one, she automatically gets life in prison.
That's
okay,
it.
so that's that. Now, in terms of your question, how many times can she appeal? She can appeal until she's put to death, meaning she can file endless legal papers asking appeals courts to overturn the verdict. So there is no limit to that. She can totally keep filing papers. Post-conviction relief is where it starts, and it continues. Many of these cases continue down state court paths, or if there's a constitutional question, they can go over to the federal court side and ultimately go to the U.S. Supreme Court. So there are a lot of people who are put to death when the Supreme Court declines to enter the case at the very last minute as they're about to be strapped to a gurney and killed. So that's why there's this debate about the wisdom of having a death row if people can spend 20 years appealing. So there are many different avenues of appeal, because in our system of law we take very seriously the ultimate punishment, and
right.
we give people who are facing that many avenues to challenge it. All right, now, who do I like prog rock wise?
This is from an anonymous viewer asking, Steve, who is your favorite prog rock band and song? I'm guessing that prog rock is progressive rock.
Progressive rock. I like Out of the Blue by Roxy Music. Thought they were great. I like a lot of Bowie. Radiohead. Radiohead's a real good band.
Yeah.
I like, and I follow it to this day. I mean, I like King Tuff. I think he's real good. Some of the Steely Dan stuff I think has been great over the years. If you go back into the Wayback File, I mean, Yes did some great early progressive rock albums. So a lot of good questions. Yeah, a lot of good bands out there. A lot of good bands. Yeah, you're making me real nostalgic.
Aw, thank you, anonymous YouTube viewer. Okay, back to my question. Mm-hmm. So I understand, obviously, like, we haven't been able to show anything from the courtroom so far. That has been the rule, correct?
That's correct. The rules here are we will not be able to see any of this until after the verdict.
Right. So.
Right. Because we've been rolling on it.
So that's my question. We were rolling on it. We
Yes.
have all the video. We just can't show it. Mm. So once it's all over, is there going to be some sort of like documentary on Arias? Like, are we going to just piece together the highlights and air the whole thing as like?
Well, I think we'll probably just
movie?
air it. I think we'll probably just air it.
Because the whole thing, I mean, is days and days and hours long. We're not going to air 6 months of stuff at once.
Well, there's already been a movie.
Right, but I mean, this is a new part that can't be in the movie because it's all everything that's happened after.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is,
I mean, are we going to have a sequel?
Well, I mean, what's going to
Dirty Little
happen to
Secret,
this
the
video?
sequel?
That I mean, obviously,
2.0?
we are rolling on everything as Fox 10.
Right.
Where are we going to see this video once the verdict is out?
Yeah.
Are we going to see the highlights? Are you yourself, Steve Kraft, going to sit there and create this like 15-minute piece that we can throw onto your YouTube channel? I don't know. I'm just putting a lot of pressure on you.
I have no idea. I cannot answer that.
Oh, so we will see it, and
right.
You guys.
We are rolling on it, and I'm sure we'll be presenting it. Yes.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah. Because I put in the little cards every day to roll on it. My listening post.
All right. Well, Steve, I know you have a busy day today.
I just soon sit around and talk about rock and roll.
Really? I really like.
Let's talk about music, guys.
No. Maybe another day. Actually, Oscar nominations came out today, so we could talk movies, but I don't really.
Well, you got Ron Hoon.
I know. I'm waiting for Ron. So Ron is actually going to come up here
Ron's
and give me a news update, including an update on the story that you're about to go out and cover.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the cold case. We've been talking about it the last day and a half. The Mountain View cold case.
I was there that day.
Which day?
Well,
In 92, 93?
Yes, yep, I was.
Were you working here?
Yep.
Did
I
you
was
cover
there.
it?
Yep. Everybody covered it.
Yeah,
Everybody covered
I know.
it.
I had John Hook on yesterday. He was sharing experience.
John was
we
out there.
actually pulled his video from 1993 and aired his video. Yeah.
I saw it, yeah.
So you covered the same story.
Yep.
You covered
I interviewed the man who found one of the victims.
Bodies?
Yeah.
So I mean, for everyone, it
Still
was just
sticks with me, too.
a hard story to cover.
That still sticks with me.
Yeah. And now you are assigned to it. Here we are, more than 20 years later.
Yep.
So I'm going to let you go because I know that the crime scene is still
I wonder
active,
if we
right?
can try something here.
What's that?
I wonder if there are any folks, because I want to do a full and fair story here.
Right.
I wonder if there are any folks who know Mr. Miller who might be interested in talking to us. I know he was active in First Friday.
Right. And Comic-Con and things like that.
Comic-Con and zombie, fans.
Sure.
And, he has friends out there in the community or people who are familiar with him out in the community.
And there are friends out there that really believe that Miller didn't do it.
That's
and
correct.
that they're defending him. So if you want your story heard, send Steve a tweet,
Yep.
And
Send me a tweet, and I'll be happy to follow up. And we would like to talk to folks who can provide some perspective on this,
Absolutely.
whatever it is.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to let you go because I know you need to go to the crime scene. It's still active. Police are still there, right? That's what
Yes.
I heard this morning?
That's correct.
All right. And so I'm going to swap you for Mr. Ron Hoon. If I see him, I don't know where he is. He was just right there. He just walked by. And now I've lost him. Oh, no. Well,
All right, on to the Oscar nominations. Who do you think's going to win?
Someone who has some movie I've
That'll
never seen.
make a prediction.
You know what? It's a movie I've never seen.
Let me
Because
make
it's
a prediction.
always a movie I've never seen.
I'm going to tell you guys who's going to win. This is a no-brainer. Boyhood will win.
Because it was shot over 12 years?
Yes.
That's the reason.
Such an extraordinary
Concept,
my goodness.
Right.
And then to pull that off and to keep it together and to get the effect they got, it's a mesmerizing film.
I haven't seen it.
Mesmerizing.
I very rarely see Oscar nominated
It is a
films.
great movie, and just the way it was done and this unbelievable sense. You literally watch this kid and everybody in the movie age. So they'll cut from one scene to another, and suddenly everyone is subtly different. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
How long is it?
It's 2.5 hours. But it's 2.5 hours where you just feel like you're inhabiting their life and the time flies by.
All right. Well,
So,
maybe I'll check that out because I trust your recommendation,
Thank you.
Steve.
All right,
And
Hunter, come on, man, you're
Hopefully,
on.
I will have an update from you from the scene this afternoon.
Got it.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. And now I get Ron Hoon. Yay, Ron! I love having you here.
Hi, Samia.
How are you?
I'm just doing great.
Great.
I guess I'll plug in
Yeah.
so I can hear you in stereo.
Yeah.
The real you, and then this thing too.
It is
Okay.
always good to have the earpiece in. So
Yeah.
I wanted to bring you up because there's just a lot of, small updates here
Yes.
and there with news.
Right.
Starting with the story that, Steve is off to go cover, the Cold case.
Right.
So we talked about it at length yesterday. Both in the morning, I spoke with you about it. I spoke in the afternoon with
Right.
both Mark Martinez and John Hook.
Oh,
I even
okay.
played John's old coverage from 1993.
Yeah, I saw some of
Yeah,
that.
it was. I mean, it's so great. It was one of his first couple of days out here,
Right. And I thought it was
so.
really creative what he did. He's standing out there on the canal, and he actually shot his stand-up, as we call it.
That's where the reporter stands out there and talks.
Correct. At about the time that it happened, of time of day, and he had the photographer turn the lights off.
Right.
So people could see at
How dark
twilight.
it was.
Correct.
Right. That is really effective.
And I think for people who maybe weren't here 20 years ago and don't know that, maybe you think, well, now wait a minute, in broad daylight, but it wasn't quite broad daylight, more twilight-ish, because those canals are really popular places. But if he timed it just right,
Absolutely. And
then-
obviously, this is something that he doesn't just decide on a whim.
yeah.
Whoever did it, this
I
allegedly
know.
Brian Miller.
Because part of what we were talking about was that, the background that they connected him to a stabbing attack. I think it was 3 years
Right.
earlier, over by the Paradise Valley Mall.
Right.
So,
It was
yeah.
when he was, I think, when he was 15 years old is what they're saying.
Okay. Yeah. Remember, we had done the math yesterday, and I came
Right.
up with 16, but I'm 15. Yeah.
So,
So.
of that video.
Yeah, right. I guess the newest developments, we finally found out where he had gone to shortly after these crimes were investigated. And you just wonder, could he have been spooked by the interrogation? Remember the fact that the police had him within their sights,
Right.
and as the police spokesman said, we vetted him. So they actually had detectives go out and talk to him, and that's going to be frustrating for the detectives all these years later to think we really had
him in '94.
grasp. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wonder, because it was shortly after that he did move up to the Pacific Northwest. Remember yesterday you and I were talking about, I wonder where he went. So there's a report coming out of Seattle today that he lived in Everett, which is about a half-hour's drive north of Seattle.
So towards Vancouver.
Yeah, exactly. And it's in a different county. Seattle is in King County, and this is Snohomish County. And so all of Snohomish County law enforcement...
I'm going to pull up a Google map.
You're so good about the Google Maps.
Well, I mean...
You really are.
I have to be. This is my job,
Good.
among other jobs.
Many.
Basically, my job is just to be on top of it. Whatever
Good.
it is, I have to be on it.
Now, Everett is probably known up in that part of the world as much as anything else for, it's where they make the Boeing 747 jumbo jets.
Oh, because Boeing is headquartered. I mean, people always say Seattle as a general.
Right, so there's Seattle, and then you can see how Everett is, as I say, about a half-hour's drive.
Right,
although not during rush hour. Boy, it takes like an hour and 15. That's traffic. You think traffic's bad here? Don't ever move to Seattle. It's unbelievable. I went to college there in the 70s, and they have the same broken down freeway system today.
Wow.
They have really done almost nothing. At least around here we build our freeways. But so anyway, as you kind of zoom in a little bit, that's the town of Everett, and so they are taking a look at it. They actively have their cold case guys looking at any other cases that might remain unsolved. And the other thing I found out for you was that he did actually have... Remember how he said he stayed so under the radar all these years? There was one criminal action against him.
I heard
that was an assault case. Did you hear about that?
Well, I heard about it from you this morning
on
the news.
Well, in 2002.
Right.
Okay. So, at least for the most part, he stayed under the radar all these years, 20 years. But then in 2002, he had that. It doesn't go into detail.
That's what I was going to ask, because like assault is a very broad term, but if you think about it, we can assume if he did this, that I'm assuming when these women were attacked, it initially started as an assault.
Yeah.
You assault someone, and then it just leads to something else. So I'm wondering if that was another attempt. Obviously, this is speculation, and we could do that because it's the internet. But it was just a thought, or it could have just been, could have been aggravated assault against another man. I mean, we don't know if it's like a fight. We don't know anything.
Yeah.
We just know that he had an incident, a run-in with the law.
Correct. So, that part's interesting. The fact that he, now we find out he worked for Amazon. We find out that he used to love to go to Comic-Con and would show up in a car that said Zombie Hunter. You saw that too, right?
Yep. We pulled that up.
Yeah. So that has to be kind of eerie for folks who remember him showing up at various events in that Zombie Hunter car. And we also interviewed a guy out in the neighborhood who said, and this is after the fact, I guess you can sort of say anything, but who said, now that I think about it, he kind of reminded me of Ted Bundy. So
I just pulled up his Facebook page actually, so that I could look at his.
Right.
Let me get that for everyone. So this is his Facebook page. Remember yesterday I was trying to find it, but I found it later that afternoon. I shared it with people in the afternoon, but I want to share it with our morning viewers. There's the picture, the Zombie Hunter vehicle that we're talking about there.
Does it say when he posted that one, by the way?
This one? This was picture January 2nd. This was literally like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Not even 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And that's what's crazy. Correct. And then, I hop in the car and the song Sweater Weather was playing. I think the car is cold. It's a funny caption. I mean, you get a sense of his personality. They were saying that this was a former police vehicle. I think this is what this shot kind of indicates that.
Well, what's interesting, Sami, about kind of where we are right now in terms of talking about this story? Like you said, it's a funny caption. There was one person who lived up in that area, or at least who was friends with him, who said, I knew him as a good dad. That's all I knew him as, and so I'm going to reserve the right until we until we hear more.
Right. So I just found out he actually had a fan page.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Look
For
at
his
that.
Zombie Hunter
Look at that.
fan page. And this is the Arizona Zombie Hunter, has 228 likes. So again, we talked about it yesterday. You know, he is sort of a public figure in a sense here locally in Phoenix. Not in a, you know, not in a government sense,
Right.
but people here knew
Some
him.
people knew
It
him,
wasn't
yeah.
like he was under the radar. He was known as the zombie hunter, the guy with the zombie car. He was, you know, we talked about it a little bit. You know, he went to these Comic-Con events and zombie
Right.
events, and he was known in that world.
Yeah.
You know, and so I want to kind of, this is the first time I'm actually looking at
This is
his
really
Arizona
interesting.
Zombie Hunter page at all. So I want to pull it up a little more so I can see more of it. And let's see.
Zombies like fast food.
Dying Light Parker point of view. This just seems like he's sharing a YouTube video. You can see this kind of creepy zombie guy. And now there's about page. Keeping Arizona safe from the things that go bump in the night. Ironic.
Wow.
Again, this is if it is true that he is
Correct.
the one who killed these two women. And also available for your events. You gotta market yourself.
What does he say?
Also available for your event. So I mean, he was. I mean, he identified himself as a fictional character. So maybe it was just this persona that he created, and you can see he has more images of his zombie hunter car.
That looked like it was parked at a drive-in.
Looks like it's
He's
at
in
an
a,
event
like a
right now.
parade or something
Yeah.
almost. So I guess he went to Comic-Cons a lot. Zombie hunter photos.
The caption here, this kid tried to sell me a rock, just an ordinary rock. Kid, if you can sell that rock, you can do anything in this world sets before you. Aw.
Wow.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Yeah, time to clear the street so everyone can enjoy the holidays. I'm assuming that's him in the costume
Yeah.
with his zombie hunter car in the back. So it looks like he launched the page in August because this one is sort of a thank you. I think that this page has reached 180 likes since August, so I've decided when the page hits 200 likes, there will be a giveaway. When the 200 mark is hit, I will put everyone's name in a helmet and randomly pick a winner. The giveaway prize will be 1 pound bag of whole bean coffee from Death Wish Coffee Company. I noticed on his Facebook page yesterday that he had a jacket or something from that same coffee company, and obviously any coffee company, you know, it's a coffee company, but I thought it was peculiar that it was named Death Wish Coffee. What is Death Wish Coffee? I'm kind
Never
of
heard of it.
curious. I'm going to click on it now
Yep.
because I need to know.
Okay.
They're
they're big.
It's a very known coffee thing.
88,000 likes.
88,000 likes. Apparently one of my our mutual friends likes it, but Death Wish Coffee.
Was that right?
Yeah, it's like, you know, the pages always tell you who you're linked to that likes the page. So I'm like, I don't think he's been caught for anything.
Well, I don't think I don't think Starbucks has anything to worry about, because I know when you and I usually wrap up, what's the first thing? Do you remember last week? Remember what we said that was so funny?
You told people the Starbucks that I go to.
Well, it was more than that.
What?
I'm like, that went really well, but you know what I want? I want more information. And you're like, you know what I want is a Starbucks.
Well, I came prepared today. No, but okay, so obviously this is a legit known coffee company.
Right.
It's not that 88,000 alleged killers just like this coffee page. But I do think it's interesting of all the coffees for him to, you know, enjoy. I mean, that's his cover photo. He was a character.
Look at all that.
You know, it's amazing how much he put into this. I remember one of the neighbors actually talking about this vehicle and saying that around Halloween he had put, like, you know, blood around the car and like hands and stuff. So I think this is the exact car because, as you can see, this photo was posted October 27th, so right before Halloween. What else? Just a photo
Parked
of
next
cops.
to an actual law enforcement vehicle. How about that?
Wanted, undead or alive. This was a zombie walk, so it looks like this is an event that he went to. It looks like he was promoting it. Obviously very involved. Some more photos. I mean, that's
Yeah, that one got filtered and everything.
right, Instagram. But yeah, you can kind of see. I mean, maybe he just really enjoyed this persona. Maybe, you know, a lot of people just. I think everyone in life is looking for a purpose, and I feel like this Arizona zombie hunter, this fictional character, maybe gave him a sense of that. I don't know. I mean, I'm again just speculating. But it is interesting to see that he had this fan page,
Yeah,
and that the
it
people
is really
actually
interesting.
supported it, you
Yeah,
know, and I'm
I thought you were
sure
gonna
the
say
people
Norman
that
Rockwell.
right, I'm sure the people that know him personally obviously were shocked to find this out,
Sure
and
sounds
probably,
like it.
and you know, I've heard that those people. I mean, some people are just they don't believe it, and they
Right.
think that the DNA is wrong, and it's some sort of mismatched
Right.
computer, this, that, whatever,
Right.
and you know, it's
Remember yesterday you and I were talking about the kind of TV shows we watch? And you're
Right,
like,
yeah.
I watch the cop dramas, or I mean the cop
I
comedies.
watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
which you can see right here on Fox. Little promo right there.
And I was saying this NCIS show, you know, there are a bunch of shows out there.
Sure.
You just don't know exactly how close to reality these shows that are based on criminal forensics are. But I will say this. They were pretty specific yesterday with Phoenix Police when you played that which I thought was really a great move, play that whole 12-minute raw interview with Sergeant Trent Crump. And he said, so we got that DNA through, I think he said, sort of surreptitious means, right? So they didn't know.
Right.
I mean, did they get it off a glass?
They don't want to reveal everything.
They don't want to reveal it.
Yeah.
But somehow they got the DNA, and he said, so it's entered into this million-plus database, and we got 2 hits. And what do you know? The 2 hits were this case.
Right.
I mean, the odds of it.
I mean, it
not
is
be,
crazy.
I mean, yeah, people can doubt the DNA and the scientific evidence all they want, but it works.
I know, that is crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, viewers, if you didn't tune in yesterday, I highly recommend after this going through our YouTube channel for both the morning segment that we did as well as the afternoon segment, because in the morning we
Right.
did play a full 12-minute clip from Sergeant Crump, who was giving us the information as it broke.
Yeah.
So, you know, just going into detail, giving us that full raw information. So you can watch that there, plus, you know, Ron and I talking about it, because that's always fun. But then in the afternoon,
Yeah.
we actually played an interview with Leo, I don't want to mess up his name, Steph. I don't remember his
Okay.
last name off the top of my head.
Right.
Let me see if I still have it.
Okay.
I don't have it in front of me, but the point, it was a former Phoenix police officer who actually was the Phoenix police spokesperson at the time
Oh, right.
of
Yes.
of these 2 murders.
I know, we were talking
and
about him
he
earlier. I
actually
can't pull his
came
name
to
up.
the scene yesterday because, you know, just because he had these cases meant so much to him.
Right.
And yesterday, Anita Roman had done a full interview with him, and we actually had his full raw interview in our afternoon show,
Yeah.
about 5-6 minutes. And then after that, I bring John Hook up,
Right.
and John Hook recalls his coverage, and I actually, you know, played John Hook's coverage from 1993. So
I know.
whether you're interested in this story or you just want to see John Hook from 1993,
Yep.
I suggest you check. I mean, there were people
He's
in the
a
news.
kid.
People were like, you know, I was getting comments from other coworkers. People were so like
Yeah.
excited to see that clip.
You can't pull up, while we're on YouTube, you can't actually pull up a YouTube video, can you?
Yeah, I can. Just
Can
the same
you?
way I can pull up Facebook here. This is just my computer screen.
Okay.
Do you want me to do
you
that?
want to take a sidelight for a second here? Just talk about young employees here at Fox 10.
Or you really want to just replay John Hook's clip?
No, this is even younger. This is kind of floor
So
you,
what
but
am I-
everybody who comes to Fox 10 needs to see this once.
Okay.
Ready? Okay, so type in up here,
Yeah.
we're the team, and then say, what would we have been back then? KTSP. And let's see.
Right
if
here?
we're the yes.
This one or
Yes.
this one?
Oh my gosh, it did pop up. No, that very first one. This is when guys, so this would have been in the 80s. And this is what we all looked like back in the 1980s.
This 4-minute clip.
Well, you don't have to go all the
No,
whole
no,
4
I'm-
minutes. You
I'm-
can, but if you want to just play it, we can.
Yeah, I will.
You want to? You want to take just a little side detour for
Yeah,
a second?
as long
from
as
that?
I'm allowed to. Because this is back.
Well, if
when-
you're not allowed to, you'll get dinged in about 30 seconds.
right, because
by
I'm
the
just
guy.
saying this is back in the day when we were. It's from 1983.
Yeah.
And this is back before we were a Fox affiliate. Apparently, we were a CBS affiliate. This is
Yeah.
before I was born.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Before I was born.
I was like, okay,
Well,
but I do want to pull it up.
okay, so it's going to take a little while to load, isn't it?
I'm gonna hide us so people can watch it.
Yeah, there's some early Hooner, some early Rick D'Amico.
Wow, I'm very excited.
And this, I don't know exactly how it ended up on YouTube, but since then it's gotten thousands of hits.
All right,
Well,
let's-
thousands of likes, I think.
Let's go.
Okay.
We've got a way of doing things here in Arizona today. certain style, a certain flair that comes through every day. You've got the touch, America. Coming on with all the best. We've got the touch, America.
Wow.
Yeah, back then we were TV10. There's Dave Muncie. Okay, let's see if we can recognize some of our other
This is amazing.
early reporters. See those old... Oh, there I am.
Oh my God.
There's a guy named Mike Era. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. Oh, Walter Davis with Tim Healy. That's Tim Healy, the voice of the ASU Sun Devils now.
Oh wow.
Look at that old helicopter we used to fly around.
This is amazing.
We had the touch back then.
There's got to be more. I think there is. This is a 4-minute clip.
Oh, that's why it's 4 minutes. It's all the different 30-second ones that
Oh.
somebody went out and found.
Are you in this one? Or are you going?
I'm in most of them. Okay, so there's the top of Payastewa. I mean, we flew all over the place. Monument Valley, that's out in the Salt River. And you know, I had people come up to me after these commercials aired, and they're like, "You guys, that really seems like the kind of place I'd like to work." And so we had a show called Copper State. There's Dave Muncie again.
Oh my
Look at
gosh!
the
And,
Munts.
and he was in a hot tub.
Yeah.
That is great. I'll have to
my
bring that
gosh.
up with him later this afternoon when I speak with him about weather.
Oh, early. What was that show? Dallas. Crazy, huh? UNTV10.
This is amazing. I can't
believe nobody showed it to you yet. It's just part
No.
of, it's part of like becoming an employee here. Is
Oh, you
knowing
have to
all-
watch this.
Yeah, that was actually, this is more serious here. This is talking about the floods that we had all the way out in the Clifton-Morenci area a long, long time ago.
Wow.
Linda Williams,
Wow.
a guy named Len Clemens. There's that Mike Era again. He got a lot of airtime, that Michael.
For the latest on the Arizona flood crisis, stay tuned to the
Wow.
News Center 10.
Yeah,
This is amazing.
isn't it? Oh, okay, this is the classic right here. We can't wait to show you
Who
more
is
of the
it?
team. Carrie Kilbride, still in the business somewhere. Okay, here I come. Right there. Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, there's Bill Close, the legendary anchorman here. Bill's who hired me.
Oh,
all these years
really?
later. Oh, there was Armando Loro. Yeah, we're the team.
Really, I was just watching to see a close-up shot of you. I
Oh,
think
here
I got
comes another
it.
one.
Are
I'm going
you-
to be riding my horse in just a second. Hang on, Samia. There, right there. See, in the plaid shirt.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little tug of war.
So this was probably just really fun to shoot.
Yeah, we shot that out at the Pioneer Living History Museum.
Uh-huh.
And I remember that very shot. I'm like, I hope this horse knows how to stop. Because, I mean, we were hightailing it, playing volleyball and the whole thing. And so, okay, trying to play the piano. Yeah. Anyway.
Right, okay.
Okay.
That was amazing. I
Yeah.
was very entertained by that.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, that was
That is the thing about television is, now with YouTube, there's stuff that is out there from a long time ago. So, yeah, you can see John Hook from 20 years ago. You
now
can
you can see
me.
from 30,
That was
31, 32.
31 years ago. I think it was 1984.
This said no. The clip said well.
Oh, what did it say?
Well, the YouTube clip was described as 1983, but
Oh, 83?
maybe that
Okay,
guy's wrong.
Well, sure. No, I mean, I'm doing it
I
off
mean,
the
it's
top of
more
my
than
head.
30 years ago. Let's put it that way.
I know.
Like,
Can you believe?
it's so great.
I know.
I love it.
I told...
You've barely aged, by the way.
Thank you.
You aged very well.
Thank you. I think it's all genetics, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blessed with very good
Yes,
genetics. My
you
mom
are.
was like 45. She looked about 27, 28.
Oh, that's great.
So I'm good for now. Hopefully
for
I'll have
you.
that whole Halle Berry effect.
Yeah. Oh, my folks, they're both in their 80s, and they go down to the gym every morning. You know what they do?
What?
They TiVo our show, because they don't want to get up at 4:30. But they TiVo
But they
want
wanna be good parents.
They want to be good parents. So they TiVo the show at 4:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get up around 6, have a little breakfast, go to the gym. My dad's 86. Mom's 82.
Amazing.
They come back to the house around 7 and hit play on the TiVo, and pretty much the rest of the morning watch the whole morning
That
show.
is so great.
at
Well, you
their
should have
leisure.
them watch Fox 10 News now.
I wouldn't be surprised if they are.
Are they YouTube savvy?
Yeah, they are. They're
Okay,
both
well,
kinda,
we should send them this clip.
most of the time when I come over to the house, Dad's on the computer.
You need to
so.
send them this clip, if anything, for the shout out.
Okay.
They were
yes.
acknowledged on air today.
Yes,
They deserve to
absolutely.
see that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's it for our cold case update, right?
Okay, yes, right.
We don't really have anything else from that. And I
Right.
know I'll probably have more this afternoon because Steve Kraft is out on the scene now.
Yes, right.
Where police are still gathering information. Real quick, they are still on the scene. It's
I
been
know.
more than a day.
They have those pods
2
out
days
there.
now. It's
Yeah.
just, how often does that happen where police are just on a scene continuously for that long of a
Yeah.
period of time?
I hope that people appreciate how big a break this is in a case that, I mean, it just sent shockwaves through, as you and I talked about
Right.
yesterday. And so they are going to be collecting evidence out there, you know, and they have to do it so methodically. I think I saw, when Anita was there live, I think I saw 3 pods of those large, like 10 by 10 foot pods that they have set up, and obviously
To
they're going
put
to be
evidence
processing.
in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
moving on, there is a really unfortunate story out of Glendale
Mm-hmm.
that I think occurred yesterday. Actually, we got an official update
Oh.
at 9:30.
Is that when we heard from them?
Glendale
Okay, good.
Police. So I did want to share that with everyone. Let me show you this video. Oops. Let's
I'm glad you're bringing this up
turn
because
this down, this audio.
we had actually got the first word about this much earlier in
There we
the.
have- oh, there we go.
Oh, there you go. We had got the word about this much earlier in the morning, but we were waiting from official confirmation from the police.
Right, it was a lot of speculation.
Correct. That
Right, but
something
now we
really
do-
bad had happened out by the Super Bowl venue.
Right, exactly. When I have
Okay.
official information
Yeah.
from police, now just after noon on January 14th, 2015, this is yesterday.
Yesterday,
Afternoon, officers from Glendale PD and paramedics from Glendale Fire responded to an area near the University of Phoenix Stadium
Yeah.
after reports of a workplace injury. 31-year-old man was found to have fallen from a structure under construction located in a private property. He suffered serious injuries, was treated on scene, transported to a local hospital, later declared dead at that hospital.
Oh, that's the
And
part
it's
that
so
is, you know, we cover a lot
sad.
of, when you think about, there is, I don't know, Phoenix is probably one of 5 or 6 major metro areas in the country where the growth boom is so strong that there's just always construction going on.
Sure.
And so it does seem like every month or so we are covering a pretty serious workplace related injury.
Right.
A lot of them are trenches that have caved in, you know, or a fall in a case like this. And in a lot of cases, you know, the paramedics get out there so fast and they do such a good job at the hospitals, they're able to save them. And that's what you
Right.
hope for every time. But in this case, the fall was
I
apparently
mean, it was like,
too
I heard it.
great.
I mean, this is, again, just speculation because this press release does not have how large I heard it was about 30, 35 feet that the
Right.
man fell.
Right.
And it does not confirm whether or not it was a Super Bowl related injury. That was all.
Right.
There was also a lot of speculation regarding that because
Right.
obviously a lot of construction around the stadium,
Correct.
preparing for the Super Bowl in a few weeks. You know, all this press release says is it's a private property. It is construction. It appears to be a workplace accident, no criminal aspect. Any additional inquiries should be directed to the Industrial Commission and or the NFL. So actually that last line indicates that it was probably Super Bowl related because
Yeah.
if there are additional inquiries and they mention
Right.
the NFL,
Yeah.
I mean, that's my best bet.
Well, the NFL has, they have so much say-so on everything that goes on around these events that, I mean, from what I remember from the previous Super Bowl, they were even controlling the airspace,
Wow.
probably working with the FAA, but controlling the airspace over the venue as well. So, I mean, they dot all their I's and cross all their T's and have pretty much control of everything that goes on at an event this big when you consider 1 billion people
Right.
are going to be watching and over 100,000 will be on site that day. I mean, even though it'll be about 70,000 or so that will be in the venue. I mean, we're quoting 100,000 because there are all these other events that are going to be
All
going
around.
on.
I mean,
Yeah.
people, and not only just around the stadium, but I think throughout Phoenix.
Right. And one of the things that you'll see when the Super Bowl comes this time around is how good a job the Valley does of spreading out these events all over the city. So,
Event traffic?
well, I sort of think it's to share the wealth.
Okay.
Because there are going to be so many people coming into
Sure.
town. In New York, for example, pretty much everything happened right there in Manhattan, or else out at the venue, which is across the river in New Jersey. But here, you're going to see all kinds of events out in Scottsdale, along the Scottsdale waterfront, just south of the Fashion Square Mall.
Right.
All kinds of events going on out there, and a lot of the live broadcasting will be happening from there. You're going to see this whole cool experience that they're going to have in downtown Phoenix. You saw it yesterday how they're going to create the waterfall downtown and the rock climbing wall and recreate the Grand Canyon.
It's amazing.
It is so great.
I mean, I'll see that before I see the real Grand Canyon, I guess.
Yeah, because it's going to be set
It's
up
right
here in a couple more days.
And I don't think I'm going to the Grand Canyon in the next couple weeks, so.
So you'll see a ton of stuff in downtown. I think they're taking over like 8 city blocks. So you're going to have downtown. It's going to be just a gigantic party. You'll have a lot of the various venues around town that'll have concerts or comedy shows or all those kinds of things.
I mean, there's so much happening. I know I was just walking by what's the venue right here next to Fox 10? Right there?
The Comerica
Right,
Theater.
right. And I just saw, a poster for Kevin Hart on January 30th. I'm like, oh, well, it's Super Bowl weekend. Obviously, he'll be performing then.
You said Kevin Hart?
Kevin Hart, yes.
Okay, and you
Who
know
was
what I just saw
here
on that?
in town.
Yeah.
He was here in our studio a few weeks ago.
I saw they just added a 3rd show.
Oh, really?
Just like in the last
well,
hour that came
he's
across.
he's huge right now. I mean, he is the
hilarious.
it guy. He's hilarious. Everyone likes him,
Yeah.
and he's pretty much in every movie. I went to a movie recently. What movie was it? Oh my God,
It'll come to you.
No. It was. Was it Horrible Bosses too? No.
No, I don't.
I don't remember what movie it was that I saw recently.
Yeah.
That's terrible. But every trailer had Kevin Hart in it. I think, okay, maybe there was one that didn't.
Oh my goodness.
But
Well,
he's just everywhere.
I know. But see, one of my famous quotes on Fox 10 is that there are only 2 times of year, because I'm a huge football fan.
Right.
There's football and getting ready for football. I mean, I love football that much, right?
Which is what, February through
Yeah, I know.
September, August, February to August.
We're about to go into the dark period.
You're not a basketball fan?
But, so here's what I want to tell you about that is I don't go to movies during football season. So I have no idea what you're even talking about. Now,
I see.
once football season's over, then, Renee and I start watching stuff on Netflix, and we go out to the movies and all those
So that's what you're going to do February through August.
Exactly.
Got it.
But I do want to say one thing about Kevin Hart.
Okay.
I wasn't surprised when I just saw this clear a few minutes ago that they've now added a 3rd show because he is so popular. The other thing about him, he is the nicest guy, and he's humble enough that
Right.
every time he has another hit movie, he comes and hangs out with us in studio. A lot of these guys will
Right.
they will big time you.
Right.
Right? And they'll be like, I don't want to go do Phoenix.
Well, because the thing is, he still remembers. I mean, you have to keep in mind, I think the perspective, he's not just an actor. He comes from that stand-up comic background, that
Right.
comedian background where
Right.
for so many years, you're struggling. You're
Right.
going to open mics where maybe there's 3-4 people in the audience, and the whole audience are just other comedians trying to go up and get stage time, you know?
Yeah.
And once you go through that struggle and all of that,
Struggle is right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go through that struggle, then I think you appreciate the success a lot more versus someone, let's say, the Justin Bieber effect. Nothing against Bieber,
Right.
but the point is, you get the fame early on,
Right.
and everything is somewhat, I'm not going to say given to you because you are talented, but
Right.
Kevin Hart is talented, but he still had to go through the struggle because not everyone sees your talent up
Yeah,
front.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's not like Kevin Hart just went into an office and like, we're going to make you famous.
Right.
No, I mean,
know.
it was a little bit different.
Tommy, I got to tell you. So I'm sitting in my doctor's office
Uh-huh.
the other day. Not my main doctor, but one of my other doctors. And he comes walking in, and I say, so we've known each other forever. And he says, what's going on with your kids? And I tell him, and I say, what's going on with your kids? And he says, my daughter has decided her career is to be as a comedian. And I said, boy, that is a tough game.
My ex is a comedian.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Was he funny?
I'm
Only half the time.
It was funny when we were dating, but we're very broken up and not friends.
Right.
So, not
now
funny.
his jokes are never funny.
Terrible
got you.
jokes. No, I have a lot of friends that are stand-up comedians and
Yeah.
are in that world because I was so involved in it. And I still, I was at a couple comedy shows just recently, the
Yes.
last couple of days, because my current boyfriend's brother is stand-up. He was performing at the Tempe Improv this past weekend, so I'm still in that world. So
Wow,
I'm very
you really are.
exposed to it. So I
Okay.
do understand that struggle firsthand because I've been to those open mics. I've seen it,
yeah.
and I see the progress that you can have, from beginner
Well,
to success.
Let me just say that when I come over here and sit at the big microphone,
Yeah.
now I feel more pressure to be funny. I got to elevate my some of my better lines because you hang out with the professional comedians.
Oh no, Ron, you're still fun to hang out with.
Okay, now I have to go do that update. Maybe you want to tell them about this next story.
Yeah, I'm going to tell them about the
'Cause
other
I-
couple stories
and
that I
then-
have here, and then we're going to talk about that story you
Yeah.
have and this other story I have, which I'm not
Okay.
going to tell them.
And
because they
this
have to
story
watch.
that's coming out of LA this morning could totally change the face of one of the most high-profile people in Hollywood. So I'll be right back.
That's a good tease. In the meantime, I'm going to show you guys this video. Okay, this is a crazy story. It's a local story. A Prescott Valley man facing charges. He is accused of running over his estranged wife. That is his truck. Now, this man, I believe we have his photo coming up in just a couple seconds. Once this video goes through, there he is, 53-year-old Stephen Craig Henry. He was arrested yesterday after police say he ran over his wife repeatedly as she was leaving the local DES office. Now, witnesses told police the couple had been fighting. The 51-year-old woman was flown to a Valley hospital and is said to be in stable condition, so thankfully that is good news, stable condition. And Henry is facing several charges, including endangerment, disorderly conduct, and drug possession. And I want to share with you another story now. This is another story involving family. This Tempe man behind bars because of child abuse charges. Now, they are saying that this man, Tom Bobo, left his 3-year-old daughter and 1-year-old son at home alone while taking his other 2 kids to school. Afterward, he put gas in his car and then went to a Tempe park. Police say the kids were alone for over an hour. I believe a neighbor saw the kids outside of the home. I think they went out through another door and, contacted authorities. And now this man, Tom Bobo, is facing 2 counts of child abuse. All right, well, Ron's chair is still empty. So I was going to end the show with this, but I'm going to actually show you guys this right now. It is from our morning show. It's from Anita Roman. Anita actually covered this dog walking program. It was really interesting. It is, I believe with the Humane Society, it is a way for, authorities to get the word out that there are all these dogs that are out there ready for adoption. So what they're doing is having people, volunteers, go out and walk these dogs out on the streets, on the sidewalks, so that people might show interest in these specific dogs and may come and adopt the dogs that they have there. So I actually want to pull up her hit from earlier this morning because I found it very interesting from our morning show. And I will share that with you guys right now.
Humane Society, I think they mean this morning, is launching a new dog walking program because dogs need to be walked.
Well, the
if they're
ones that they
cooped
have
up,
them housed
cooped
there,
up in there, yeah.
since they don't have owners yet. So they
Right.
need volunteers to help walk these adoptable dogs. And Anita, this is the perfect story for Anita because she's a dog lover herself. She's live with more on this program. Hi, Anita.
This is Yogi, you guys, and believe it or not, Yogi was just adopted, so that's fantastic news. And Yogi took a walk today down the bridle path, and it was the inaugural walk down the bridle path for the Arizona Humane Society, and so many volunteers. This is Bretta Nelson joining us live. The mayor was even out here. This is an exciting program for you guys.
Such an exciting program for the Arizona Humane Society. This is just another program program that we're launching, so many this year and last year, to raise awareness towards our shelter pets, get out, get them the exercise they need, and really increase awareness and hopefully increase adoptions. And for our volunteers, it's just another way they can take part in enriching these pets' lives while enriching their own life, really.
Yeah, and you know, these pets, as they wait for forever homes, are in the kennels, very well taken care of. They get a lot of playtime at the Arizona Humane Society, but there's nothing like a good walk. And that's part of the reason you started this program.
Absolutely. Yeah, Sunny Slope has been there since 1957. Everyone knows it very well. We use every square inch that we can, but we just don't have a lot of space to get these guys out walking and exercise. So now it's going to be as easy as our volunteers coming in, picking out the dog of their choice, loading them up, coming to the bridle path. They can run, jog, and do what they need to do, and hopefully bring an adopter back to the shelter with them.
Yeah, great way to expose all the dogs to potential parents.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. What can we do to adopt out just one more in any given day?
Thanks, Greta, so much. And you guys, that is where the bridle path begins, Central and Bethany Home. It's about 2.5 miles round trip. Is that right, or just one way?
That's a great question.
Okay, we'll look at
one way.
We'll look into that. So about 5 miles. You can could go out on your day off, on an afternoon off, and pick up the pets and take them for a little walk, and perhaps get them a forever home. So it really is a win-win for everybody.
I love this idea. In 5 miles, you get some exercise, dog gets exercise. It's all good.
And you have the companionship. I mean, I don't think there's a way to lose, if you ask me, but of course, I am a doggy lover.
You are an exercise lover and a doggy lover, so this is perfect
This is for
you.
Yeah, I'll just bring Shorty and we'll head on out.
Oh.
If you do this, you might even end up adopting a dog. Who knows?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so hard not to, you guys. When you look at these cute little faces, now, like I said, Yogi's had been adopted, but this is Mona. And I have to tell you guys, Mona has been trying to play with it. She's been playing with everybody all morning. She just wants to play. So we have some real cuties here, and of course, head on out to the AZ Humane Society, either to adopt or walk, either way.
All right, so you heard it there from Anita Roman. If anyone would like to volunteer with the Humane Society and help walk those dogs, maybe help them get adopted, or if you want to adopt one of your own, that would be very helpful for them. The dogs are so cute. I know. Anita had a fun assignment this morning.
Oh my goodness.
You know what's interesting about working on the morning show? One day she's covering that cold case murder.
That's right.
Yesterday, and then here we have her playing with dogs.
She can do everything.
She can do everything.
She
A very
is really
talented
quite
Anita
amazing.
Roman.
Yeah.
And I don't think she can hear me. She's over there right now. She has headphones on, but
I know.
we can tell her in person.
She looks like she's working, but she could be jamming on her iPod right now.
We actually, there's a new report.
Oh, yeah.
This actually just came out this morning from Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Good.
They released a report rating all 50 states on their efforts to stop drunk driving fatalities.
Okay.
And so I brought this up because apparently Arizona is one of the best at really fighting
Good.
drunk driving. So I'm looking for their list. Star ratings. Okay, so they have this star rating system. I can pull that up.
Okay.
But, we can... Maybe I can...
Put it on the screen, even if it's sideways,
I don't even know how to use this program that they have.
Yeah.
That way. Maybe 7...
But there's a map, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
so
see.
let's...
Loading them up, coming to the bridle path. They can run, jog, and do what they need to do, and hope.
There we go.
Okay. So there's the map, sideways, and the states in red are the states that are doing really good. They get the 5
rating,
star.
yeah,
Okay.
right. So you see
we
1
can do
star,
this
2
this
star,
way.
3 star, 4 star. I'm sure there's I don't know why we can't.
Now, if you're watching YouTube at home, you don't have to go sideways. You don't have to take a 90-degree. We'll do it over here at Fox 10.
So we see. So minimum, you at least 1 and 3.
Correct.
1 and 2 is like failing. We assume 5 is an A, 4 is a B,
Right.
3 is a C, 2 is a D, and 1's an F. Or we're going through school system ratings.
So let's go over to the west and sort of see what's happening.
So we
out
know the
here.
good ones: West Virginia, regular Virginia.
Regular Virginia. That's how they like to be known.
I don't know.
I have some relatives in Virginia who I know they watch our show online.
Oh,
If they're
okay.
watching Fox News now. Hey, we live in regular Virginia.
I'm sorry for any Virginians that I have.
I was driving through Virginia once, and I was with my daughter. She was going back to Washington, D.C. to do an internship. And I drove her all the way across the country. She had just graduated from college. I said, let's stop in and see our relatives in regular Virginia.
You didn't say regular.
No, I did not say regular Virginia.
I'm sorry for any Virginians that are out there that I may have offended. It was just a comment because we
Correct.
went from West Virginia to regular Virginia.
Right. So anyway.
Virginia without the West.
Anyway,
East Virginia.
we stopped, and I just want to take 5 seconds to tell you. That area of the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia, I don't know if you've been yet. It is so amazingly beautiful. And this, he would be like a sort of a second I think married to my second cousin or something like that. A little bit of a distant relative.
Sure.
But he said, it's so cool that you guys are in town. He said, I'm going to take you up into the hills, up in the Blue Ridge, to the family cemetery that goes back literally to our, like so many generations back, that we had a guy in our family named Emera who fought in the Revolutionary War.
That's crazy.
Right, in the 1776 or thereabouts. And he's buried in this family cemetery, and then over generations up on what they call Chestnut Ridge. And I'm telling you, we stood there, and you're looking out over about 7 layers of mountains in the Blue Ridge, and I stood there and I said, this is one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen in my life. You got to go sometime. So anyway,
make a trip out to Virginia. Okay, well, so we have Alabama, Mississippi, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado. Really trying to figure out where
Colorado's doing good, and then Utah and Arizona.
So we are excellent.
Look at, of the 11 western states, only the 3 of us, Colorado, Utah, and Arizona, are 5-star.
Right. I mean, California and Nevada is still decent. I wonder where they're not doing a good job. So you see Montana.
Not doing well at all.
Wyoming seems to be fairly light.
Right.
South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan, Kentucky. And then some of these smaller, Vermont,
New Jersey,
Rhode Island, New
right,
Jersey. Interesting.
Well, I know that, think about when we go into the holiday season.
Right.
The first thing you hear is us on the news talking about how the DUI task force
they're out
is going to be out there, and these guys work, somebody's on shift 24 hours a day. I mean, if you are going to choose to drive drunk, odds are they're going to catch up with you.
Right.
You're
and
people
people
realize
get away
that in
with
this
it.
state. I think a lot of states have their slogans, and of course, our slogan, because you see it pops up on those electronic billboards sometimes, right?
Oh, I love that one.
Drive hammered, get nailed.
That is that's the most, I mean, I haven't been to every state, so I can't actually make this claim, but I think that's the most clever way to target drunk driving.
Right.
I remember, I thought it was amazing. I really wanted to Instagram it, but you don't want to take photos while driving because you might get in a crash. So I need to do it when I'm a passenger at some point because it's so, I think it's so effective too. It's something that you don't forget.
Correct. I think the best slogans are the ones that are really short like that. That's 4 words. It's everybody in the whole state knows it. Drive hammered, get nailed. But what I was going to say is some of these states, I think, have come up with clever slogans. Maybe they have ad campaigns.
Sure.
But unless you actually have the commitment of law enforcement in your state, it ain't going to happen.
Right. So actually, I have the specifics of their report.
Good.
Arizona, Arizona's ignition interlock law requires convicted drunk drivers to use an ignition interlock, not wait out the interlock order before obtaining unrestricted driving privileges.
Yeah.
The first of its kind passed in 2007. This legislation is one of the best in the country, and as a result, drunk driving deaths in the state have decreased by 45%.
That's awesome. That's really
Mothers
good.
Against Drunk Driving applauds Arizona on its continued efforts to keep roads safe. Sobriety checkpoints and continued refinement of the ignition interlock program are proven ways to continue to save lives. So this is why we were 5 stars.
Yep.
They have told us in this report.
What I was going to tell you regarding that, just regarding efforts to crack down on drunk drivers. So we were just talking about my folks a minute ago. My dad gives me a book because we're getting ready now to get ready for the presidential campaign. He's like, you should read up on this Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson, who is potentially one of the presidential candidates. Have you followed him yet at all? He's really an interesting guy. But he talks about how as lawmakers, or whether you're the president or Congress or whatever, if you want to put enough teeth in a bill, you can do it. And it'll work. And he tells the story of a Scandinavian country. It's either Sweden or Norway. I'm trying to remember which. Where they passed a law that said that if you were arrested for drunk driving, the fines, which had been running what you would expect, typical, like $300, $400, $500, went up to, I think they said on average $13,000 for your first arrest. And they said the incidence of vehicles being stopped with a drunk driver dropped from wherever it was, in the single digits somewhere, to a fraction of 1%. With just that one law.
Wow.
So that would be potentially another way. I noticed when you pulled that up, Samia, a lot of it has to do with ignition interlock devices, which MAD obviously is big proponents of,
Right.
as they well should be. And we've had those devices here in the Fox 10 parking lot when we do stories on this in the past, and they are really effective. You know, I mean, they really do absolutely do the job. But there's another idea of another way to do it. Sometimes it's interesting to see what other countries try. You know,
I wonder how
and what we
bad,
can learn
how
from
much
them.
of a threat drunk driving is in other countries. Like,
Yeah.
where is it really the biggest problem? Is
Yeah.
there a predominantly U.S. problem?
Right.
Because, you know, in other places, too, there's a lot more access to public transportation, I think.
Yes.
So that might play a factor. Actually, to go into more details of this specific rating thing, each state got 1 star for having legislation and action around each of the following 5 categories. Those are ignition interlocks, sobriety checkpoints, license revocation, child endangerment, and no refusal events. So those are the 5.
What was the last one?
No refusal events. So if those 5, those are the 5 things you needed to get 5 stars. And to go into detail about what those things are, I have that here. So ignition interlock laws, we talked about that earlier, are devices that measure the driver's blood alcohol level and then are installed in the cars of offenders. Drivers have to blow a clear test before they're able to start up their cars.
Sobriety checkpoints, we know what those are.
Sure, license revocation, take away their license. Child endangerment laws. 46 states and D.C. have enacted laws or statutes that consider driving under the influence with a child in the vehicle as a form of child abuse. So they would also face, in addition to DUI charges, child abuse charges.
We had
in that scenario.
A story, let's see, we're Thursday, I think it was Tuesday of this week, of a mom from the Valley who was driving from here to Tucson, and they tested her and said that she had been drinking.
Right.
And her one daughter was killed and her son was critically injured.
Right, I remember that.
And that's why they have laws like this, so that things like that don't happen, because now not only did she lose her daughter, and who knows if her son will survive, be a vegetable or whatever. And then you have the mother who's going to face a second-degree murder charge and could very well spend most of the rest of her life in prison. I mean, it's just so horrible all the way around.
I know.
And so, they got to get serious about laws like this so that we never have to report on something like that again. It's just heartbreaking.
And
Anyway, so what's the no event?
The no refusal events is the last category. It's a program that allows law enforcement officials to obtain an expedited warrant to test an offender who has refused to take a blood alcohol test.
Okay.
So Mothers Against Drunk Driving gave a star to states that have prosecutors and judges available to streamline the process.
Okay.
Okay.
An expedited warrant so that you can still test them. If they're refusing on scene, then you get the warrant and you can test them. Either you still have them do the, where they blow into the breath analyzer, or you can do the blood test on them.
Wow.
So, good.
This
Well,
is really
good for
interesting.
Arizona.
This is really interesting.
I have to tell you, Samia, sometimes I get a little bit tired of some of these lists come out that say Arizona's not doing a good job
We're doing
on this,
a great
that,
job.
or the other thing. Yeah.
You know what's interesting is
We are.
when our dear executive producer Steve came out to tell me about this story.
Okay.
And he was like, "Oh, there's this list, and Arizona is the," and I said, "the worst." That was no offense. I know it's terrible, but because we see so many of those lists like that, and he's like one of the best. And I was like, "Wow, we really have to share this story with our viewers."
Right.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that, Steve Levi.
I mean, think about some of the other lists that we would be tops on. For example, hiking. You find me another state in America that's
golf
got
courses.
Better golf courses, right? You know, there are so many golf courses in the Valley that if you loved golf, you could come here and spend a whole year and practically be on a different golf course every single day.
My uncle who lives in Canada loves golf. I think I mentioned it here on this show. He was here last week, and when he was here, purchased a house. It's being built now in Santan Valley.
Right?
Yeah, from Canada, out of nowhere. He's my great uncle. He's actually my dad's uncle, but.
I love that.
Yeah, and it's like I'm convinced that he's here to escape some Canadian weather during certain months and to golf.
Yep. I love that. Yeah. I had a buddy of mine from high school days that I hadn't heard from in, 20, 25 years. A guy named Bruce Bauer. from my hometown up in Washington who called me and said, hey, we bought a place down here in Arizona. He runs a fishing boat operation in Alaska.
Oh, wow.
And so in the winter, there's nobody wants to go fishing in Alaska,
And also,
right?
there's like 2 hours of sunlight a
Right.
day when you're
So
in Alaska.
he said we started coming down there and playing golf a few years ago, and we kept watching. This was when the real housing crisis hit.
Right.
He's like, we kept looking at houses that one year we'd come down, they were 400. The next year we'd come down, they were like 325, and then they were 250. They just kept dropping, so we finally bought a place.
Good time.
I know.
A really
I know.
good time to buy if you have the money to buy.
It was a good time.
Well,
So-
I know you have a story that you've really wanted
Right.
to talk about since you
know.
got up here. This
Yeah.
is big breaking news. you
Okay, so
said?
I'm going to put my
Reading glasses on.
reading glasses on from the dollar store. This, to me, this has the potential to blow the Bill Cosby case wide open.
Okay. What happened? Because I haven't read this. I
Okay,
have no idea what you're going to tell me.
We are learning that a woman who is a model over in Hollywood met yesterday for hours, I think at least 2 hours, with LAPD to discuss an incident that she had with Bill Cosby not that long ago.
I heard about this on Fox News Radio this morning.
Oh,
actually,
did you?
now
Okay.
I
Yes.
heard them talking about it briefly. She was
Right.
like, it happened when she was like 18 years old. She's 24 now. Am
Yeah.
I making this up?
Yeah, I think you have the ages right, but
Yeah.
here's the key. If there's one number on here that's a key number, it's that it happened in 2008.
Right.
You know, there's a statute of limitations on
Right.
almost all crimes. Obviously, murder is
Sure.
not one of them. That's why they were able to have this cold case cracked here in
Right.
Phoenix. But this only happened in 2008.
Is the statute of limitations 7 years?
Usually it's
Yeah.
7 years for most
That's what I'm
things,
saying. So
yeah.
this is like, it's just on the brink.
Correct.
You know?
And so it says that happened at the Playboy Mansion. And even though police said, we don't want you to go into a lot of detail, so she and her lawyer came out afterwards and said, we're not going to reveal a lot, but she did at least say that it was at the Playboy Mansion, that she thought that Cosby drugged her, and that when she finally woke up, she was naked, all her clothes had been removed, and Bill Cosby was over her. So the LA police commander said he's not going to confirm whether there's an investigation right now, and that cases like this are, quote, extremely confidential. So LAPD, but they would never do that anyway, in the middle of an investigation, halfway through, when they don't have all their ducks in a row and they don't have everything lined up, they're not going to comment about it.
Right.
They have to make sure they've got everything
Something especially so high
done
profile.
correctly. Yeah, so her name is Chloe Goins, and she and her attorney said, or it was her attorney who did say, Miss Goins and I are here for 2 reasons, for justice and for accountability. And she apparently decided to come forward just recently after realizing how many other women had, and the thing that makes it different for her is that this happened
Recently enough.
recently
enough. Yeah.
I think we all sort of assume, because most of these stories came out of the 70s
Right.
and 80s, you know, in the 90s.
Right.
And so, you know, she's a model there in Hollywood. And so, let's see, what else did the attorney says? The information about the, the attorney responds to a report that the Playboy Mansion has surveillance video that could easily, potentially prove his client's claim. How about that?
Really?
So either the Playboy Mansion would voluntarily give it up, or they would have to try to get a warrant.
Right, but I mean, I feel like getting a warrant for this is easy now.
Yeah, I know. And he says the information about the cameras is general knowledge from other Playboy playmates. He says other Playboy playmates. Now, this just said that she was a model. I don't think it said that she was a Playboy playmate, but he says other Playboy playmates. So that part's still to be determined. But anyway, is general knowledge. We hope that LAPD would execute a search warrant to obtain those tapes. So, she's among 15 plus women who have accused him of sex assault, but his client is the only one whose claims, according to this attorney, are covered by the statute of limitations.
I know, and then I
now.
think there was another quote right here from the lawyer. Chloe is very aware of her responsibility because so many other women are outside the statute of limitation.
Right.
She is seeking justice under the criminal justice system. So it's not only on her behalf. I think it's for all those other women that can't see justice from their claims.
Right. Then now the next question that would come up would be, would the Playboy Mansion, would they fight it?
Fight.
You know, because
Saying
they
that
are
it
going to have their
happened here,
attorneys.
or-
Well, fight giving up their tapes, you know, and all those kinds of things.
I mean,
so,
in this situation, though, if the allegations are true,
yeah.
I don't think that the Playboy Mansion, the location itself, is at fault.
Well,
Are they? I mean, 'cause-
unless it could be proved that somebody was monitoring the tapes, you know, that they had like
Right,
a
well,
security
that's true.
guard or security guards. That,
Sure.
But, you know, who knows?
again, but even if you're watching that in that moment in your security, you don't know if there was given consent or not.
Right.
You know, at that
Yes,
time, they
right.
could have. I mean, it's a Playboy Mansion.
That's
Everything
right.
happens there.
I
you know?
suppose so.
I'm sure that stuff happens all the time. It's not that the first time someone is.
Yeah, but if the tape shows that she, like you said, somebody could claim consent.
Right.
But if the tape shows that she's completely out,
Oh, right.
you know, and he's moving her around,
Sure.
I'm just telling you, if most of this report is true, it blows the lid off this whole case.
Right.
Because he's been able to successfully deny everything. But
Sure.
if this thing goes to trial, criminal trial,
Mm-hmm.
the phrase the trial of the century gets overused all the time. And it's not the trial of the century, but it would sure be the trial of the year. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a guy who it was beloved during his TV show and for his stand-up act,
He was
and he's still
beloved up
selling
until
out.
a couple months ago.
Correct. Yeah,
And people,
for
people are still
generations.
going to see him.
Correct.
I wonder if even with all this attention, more people are inclined to go buy a Bill Cosby comedy show ticket. You'd think, just to see, because
Right.
he's so in the press now that you're
Right.
more aware of Cosby's existence now than I think you were 3 months ago.
Well, yeah, that's
I mean,
right.
it's one of
Last
those things where it's like, yeah, you walk down the street, if you saw Bill Cosby, obviously it would be,
Yeah.
exciting to any
Sure.
passerby. But
Right.
I think, you could be opening your paper and it's like, oh, Bill Cosby's in my town. Maybe I'll go, maybe I won't. Back in like June or July.
Yes, right.
Now I just feel like you want to go because you want to watch him. You want to see
Right.
how he holds himself. And at a
Right.
recent show, I think it was in Canada.
London,
Yeah.
Ontario.
Yeah, he was
Yes.
in Canada, and I think someone in the audience yelled like rapist or something, or and he was
He tried to make a joke out of it.
he made a joke out of
Right,
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm sure there are lots of people who would say I'm going to just reserve judgment and I'm just not going to go support him. But I think there probably are other people who are like, well, I'm not familiar with that guy, because
Right.
maybe you just hadn't followed him before. I'll go get a ticket and see what it's all about. He's
Right,
coming
and then
to-
there's the other argument where you separate someone's personal life from their professional life or their
Right,
art. You know,
right.
People have made that argument with Bill Clinton, for example.
Before you even said the name Bill Clinton, that's the name that popped into my head.
Right, but I think also, in more recent years, going to the entertainment realm, like Chris Brown, for example.
Right.
Music, people love him musically.
Right.
No one is justifying what happened to Rihanna by any means.
Right.
But he's still selling out shows. People are still buying his music. There was a little bit of a protest from some radio stations afterwards, some backlash.
Right.
But, he's back in the limelight. Like,
Yeah.
nothing ever happened.
Right.
So I think...
He did have those few instances where he tore up dressing rooms and stuff.
Sure,
he was
he
on
has
a morning
his
show.
anger
and-
management
Right,
issues.
yeah.
Those are ongoing, but
Right.
despite the anger management issues, despite the incident with Rihanna, despite this or that, or alleged incidents in the nightclub,
Yeah.
he's still on the radio.
Yeah, right.
He's still making hits that people listen to,
Correct.
and that's.
Yeah.
I think when you go back to Cosby, it's like, well, his art is his comedy
Sure.
and the jokes that he creates.
Right.
And so, maybe in that scenario.
I know. Well, look at Michael Jackson. When that trial was going on, a lot of people thought, well, that's it for him. That's it for him and his career and everything else. And then, of course, tragically, he dies. But what happened? What was he doing in those months before he died? He was going to be doing a huge comeback
And
tour that was going to sell out apparently all over the world.
Right, that's another perfect example, Michael Jackson, because of all his this is
Right.
probably, I don't want to say Bill Cosby's situation is very similar
Right.
to Michael Jackson's situation, but Michael Jackson had a lot of people defending him,
Right.
Had to go to court, all of this stuff, but
Yeah.
people love him.
Okay, but
He's very revered.
I'm going to ask you this question
Okay.
because you came from California.
I did.
Do you not
I covered
think-
Michael Jackson's death.
Okay, did
Yeah,
you?
I was working in entertainment news, and I
Okay.
heavily covered
Yeah.
that.
Right. Do you not think that, for whatever reason, just the way Hollywood and LA is so celebrity oriented, that they get a little bit more of a break from juries over there? Look at OJ. Look at the case I always think about is Robert Blake, who played, do you remember that one? This was like 15 years ago, but he played that TV detective called Beretta.
And killed his wife.
He killed his wife, and he
Right.
runs back into well, of course they found him not guilty. And then there was a civil trial where he was found liable, but I think. Anyways, bottom
Something
line
happened
was,
recently in that.
yeah, the bottom line was, she ends up shot. He comes running into back into the restaurant like a bad actor and yells, "Is there a doctor in the house?" I mean, the whole story was so weird and so bizarre, and I thought, there's no way he's getting off the hook on this thing.
Right. There's something.
So,
Something happened recently. I want to say in like
it said Robert Blake finally pays for wife's murder.
I don't know if I want to use a tabloid as a source.
Oh, was that what that
It
was?
was the
Okay.
National Enquirer.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with something that's maybe somewhat more credible.
Right.
I don't know.
Crime Library.
Yeah, the murder happened in Studio City.
I'm telling you.
Studio City.
Yes.
That's right. It was
It was
at
a
a
little restaurant just kind of around the corner
That's
from
where I
Studio
just
City.
moved from.
Oh, is that right?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Evening hours of Friday, May 4th, 2001. It was a big deal, but then
Ventura
of course,
Boulevard.
you know.
And I know
in
something happened
2001.
I remember something. There was some news story around this in 2014, and I want to figure out what it was because I do remember.
Do you want to do, instead of just a Google search, you want to do the Google News search and see if it pops up?
Google News seems to.
Are you having problems with it lately?
No, it's not that. Google News seems to only search recent news.
Oh, and you think this was a while ago?
I want to
Okay.
say this was 2013, late 2013 or early 2014.
Yeah.
Man, I can't find.
Huh.
Maybe this.
Well,
The point is.
the point is, I just wonder over in LA, I just wonder if
If there's some
sometimes the
leniency.
wheels of justice move a little differently for big name stars. That's all. I mean, you know, people said that a lot after the OJ case. Of course, in the end, OJ ends up in prison for years on a completely different case.
Completely
but,
unrelated.
But I mean, I think a lot of people out here watched it and thought
Everyone
"There's
watched it.
No way he's not getting convicted, and people were just so shocked. I mean, it looked like some of his lawyers were.
Yeah. That is. I guess I don't. There's got to be something.
Oh, okay.
He
Paying
fi-
damages to the wife's family following the wrongful death conviction. So he did actually.
Paying towards the $15 million
Okay, in
wrongful
that
death
civil case that we
penalty
were
after
talking
he
about.
lost the civil
That's
case.
interesting.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's really interesting. Mm-hmm. Huh. Okay. Well, so there you go. Now, whether anything, we don't want to jump the gun on this Bill Cosby thing, but if in fact it ends up going before a jury, this will be such a highly anticipated trial. My goodness. Yeah. No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Probably the most watched thing since. I think OJ, probably.
Probably, because Bill
'Cause
Cosby's big.
Michael Jackson, was that before or after OJ? Or kind
That
of
was
along the.
that was after.
After late
Yeah,
90s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty heavily watched. People watched like Anna Nicole Smith, that whole thing a while.
yeah,
But she was,
right.
she's not as,
Yeah.
she wasn't as mainstream, I guess you
Right.
could say, as something like a Bill Cosby.
And there was a while there where the Jodi Arias case felt like it
Oh,
was as big as
absolutely,
that.
yeah.
But I wonder if that was because of the case, or just because we have the proliferation of
Social media?
of news media
Okay.
that we're out covering it. You know.
That too, and also social media. Social media changes the game because all the area stuff happened after 2008, obviously. You have Twitter now, you have Facebook, you have so many people engaging in the information
Right.
more. It's at your fingertips. You can comment on Twitter, you can talk about it on your Facebook page, you can
Right.
go look at YouTube clips, you can watch coverage from Arizona, any part of the, I mean, we just talked about Arias earlier, a little
Yep.
over an hour ago, I
Right.
had Steve Kraft here
Yep.
talking about Arias. Someone
People
could watch
still wanna
that
know. Yep.
on the other side of the world.
Yep, right.
You know, people care about that story and the difference between that and even, let's go back to, OJ or anything before in the mid 90s.
Right.
I mean, internet was there, kind of. We had
right.
dial-up, maybe AOL CDs, 1,000 free hours if you pop this disc in.
AOL
Thank
CDs
you,
in the mail.
Oh, those were
my
the
goodness.
best.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, but I mean, dial-up kids these days don't even know what it means
Right.
to have to wait for internet and how slow it could be.
Right.
Anyways, that's aside from the point. But
Right.
my point is, even though there was internet, at that point it was just very limited. We had search engines and like chat rooms, Yahoo
Right.
chat rooms, stuff
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
It was, and that's where you kind of discussed maybe like talking to your friend or a chat
Right.
group.
Right.
It wasn't like, now with Twitter, I feel like everyone has an opinion on every news story, whether you are an authority, an official expert, or a
Yes.
regular person, or a celebrity. Everyone's chiming in on everything.
that's true,
And
but-
everything gets talked about more.
I do want to say one thing about that in Twitter's defense, and that is this, that it is a great vehicle for folks at home to directly interact with those of us who are on Fox News Now.
Oh, absolutely.
Or when we're on the air.
Yeah.
Because there'll be stories that we talk about, and then I'll hop on my phone as soon as the show's over, sometimes in the middle of the show, and see what are the things that people are reacting to.
Right.
And so the Jodi Arias case was continual. The people wanted information on that. Other things that people were interacting with me yesterday on Twitter, the fog, you know, kind of wanting to know what was going on with the fog and driving to Tucson and, you know, how bad it was going to be. And
Sure.
unfortunately, it turned out there was an accident down in Casa Grande. 2 people killed, a mom and her daughter, that looks like it might be related to the fog. And then the other thing yesterday that I was hearing from people on, you're not going to believe this. What was like kind of the fun, little lighthearted story, but people were really wanting to get more information on? Leave it to the beaver in Tempe.
Well, you know, we have Andrew has been back on the beaver story.
Is he?
Yeah,
He's
he's on
got
that
the-
beaver story today,
Okay.
and hopefully I will have him here on Fox News Now at 3 this afternoon
Really?
to get the beaver update.
Okay.
Because I know he was supposed to go meet the beaver at 11 a.m. just a half an hour ago. So Andrew might be there right
I've been
now. I don't
waiting
know.
for all the great Leave It to Beaver lines.
Oh
you
my
know?
gosh, I should have been reading the I should have been reading the comments from YouTube earlier. We have a very dedicated viewer, Alfredo Pacheco Jr. He actually gave us questions about the Arias trial. He gave us
Okay.
a couple comments as we were trying to figure things out.
Okay.
You know, for example, how we couldn't rotate the map.
Oh, yes. Alfredo, thank you.
I know,
buddy.
sorry I wasn't paying attention earlier,
Yeah.
but if it's Adobe Reader, right click and then select rotate clockwise. Good to know for the future.
Okay.
And then Google Drive hammered get nailed and you will see the e-boards from ADOT in the images.
Oh, yeah.
And Google Drive hammered get nailed and you will see the e-boards from
Okay.
ADOT in the image. And then he's also saying that you can specify the date for Google News. So I can search old news archives apparently.
Okay.
I'm learning so
Oh,
much.
Is that right? Because I thought
Apparently.
it was, last hour, today, past 24 hours, last week.
That's what I
But he
thought
says
too, but I
you can
guess maybe you
actually-
can search like 1998 to
Okay.
2000. I mean, allegedly.
Anyway.
I'll try it next time.
Yeah. I noticed when you were talking to Steve that Alfredo was logging
He
in
was
with
good.
questions.
I
I'm
mean,
like,
he was
that's
giving
awesome.
us some questions. We got another I think from Jose. I don't remember his last name. I mean, but you know, and other people were commenting. So
Right.
always like your questions and comments. You know, did you see Fox 10 tweeted about how they could watch old school Ron?
Oh,
I don't know if you saw that
Did
tweet.
they?
Yeah, they
I
were
was-
just like Ron Hoon in his early days.
okay.
So, you know,
We can't
anyone who
wait
just
to
joined
show
in, you can
you.
always like
Yeah.
click rewind, reverse,
Is
whatever.
that what
back
you
up.
do?
What?
You can watch live, and then you can also just click
You can
from
like
the start.
You can scroll on
Oh,
your
you can
YouTube
scroll
back.
backwards?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
whatever.
cool.
Yeah, so you can go back, and then obviously once this is done,
Yeah.
the whole archive of the show stays on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
So you can
Forever?
always go back and watch. Yeah, I
Oh,
watched
great.
yesterday's show
Okay.
last night. That's
Did
what I
you
do.
really?
Yeah, I have
That's good.
Google Chromecast, so I can cast tabs and I
Yeah.
can cast YouTube and all that stuff to my
Right.
TV. And so I just pull up the clips on my
Right.
phone, and then it plays on my TV in the living room. It's actually really
Okay.
cool.
Right. Is that through AirPlay? Do you do
That
it?
no, well that's AirPlay you can do on like you know,
your
newer
iPhone or
Apple
something, right,
phones
yeah.
or whatever. No, this is Google Chrome.
Oh, okay.
It's a little USB device that you put into the very back. It's very portable. You put
Okay.
you put it in the back of your TV, like
Okay.
an HDMI port.
Yeah.
And then you just set it up. You connect it to your Wi-Fi, and
Right.
then any device, whether it's your laptop or your phone or iPad or whatever you have,
Right.
that's connected on the same Wi-Fi network. You just
Okay.
have to download this one Chromecast app, and then anything you have it. So
Okay.
they already know that it's linked to Chromecast.
So the bottom line is get a Chromecast app.
You don't have to. No, but you have to have the Chromecast thing. It's like $30, $35.
Okay. Oh,
It's
and then it
very
communicates
reasonable.
with it. Okay.
Yeah, and so you can pull up Hulu Plus, for example. So I
Good.
watch all my Brooklyn Nine-Nine
Can I
and New Girl and Mindy projects and all the great Fox sitcoms.
Good. Can I also say, looking at your phone, I see you have Gas Buddy right
I do,
there.
yeah.
Good job.
I have Gas Buddy, I have Comedy
I love
Central,
Gas Buddy.
Hulu Plus, Uber, Dunkin' Donuts app.
Oh.
YouTube, but you can cast things on YouTube on Hulu Plus, or even what's cool about Chromecast is
Right.
you can just pull up any of your tabs in your Chrome browser
Oh.
and cast it to the TV,
Oh, okay.
whether it's on your computer or whatever. So
Okay.
it's like you can be on your laptop and then throw something on the TV,
Yeah.
and then you can open another tab and still do your work while having the other tab open. So it's like almost having two screens. It's crazy.
Well, I got to
Technology.
get way more up to speed on Chromecast. But if you have the Dunkin' Donuts app, that's fine. But I do have to tell you that since you're at the studio downtown, we have this unbelievable donut shop that's here downtown that you probably haven't gone to yet.
No, because I've been looking. I have donut cravings here at work sometimes, and I didn't know about
surprised.
any donuts in our nearby radius. One time, I drove to the nearest Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
I took a little extended lunch break because I needed a donut more than anything I had ever needed in
Really?
life that day.
Really?
That's the thing about being. Sometimes I just have these really intense cravings, and I don't get it. I will
Right.
be really sad, and I could not go on to my afternoon show
Okay.
without being happy. And so,
Correct.
so where's this donut?
Okay, so it's called Rainbow Donuts, and it is at I think 12th Street and McDowell. So McDowell's just up north
Oh,
of
it
us
still
here.
requires driving.
No, you can't walk. Correct.
Okay.
From the studio, because we're downtown here, right by the Phoenix Police Headquarters.
Right.
You do need to drive. You know, it's like a 5-minute drive.
Okay, so when I go get my Starbucks, I should just.
Yeah. But anyway, let me just tell you, sometimes, I don't do it very often, but lately I've been kind of thinking about it. I got to go over there. They have an apple fritter. Are you big on apple fritters?
I'm
Sorta?
neutral on the apple
Are
fritter.
you? Wait,
fritter.
go ahead and just try this.
Really?
I mean, you're going to splurge. It's like $1.50. Okay? But it is unbelievable how good it is.
Okay.
Apple fritter, rainbow donuts.
I might end up getting a donut after this before the next webcast because now I have donut on my mind.
Yeah. When is the last time? One morning I actually pulled in there before coming in for the morning show.
Mm-hmm.
They were just bringing them out fresh and hot out of the oven. And I'm trying to remember what we were doing. I think it was somebody's birthday or something like that. No station in America does cooler, like smorgasbords and all that kind of thing, or just sort of breakfast parties like we do
Really?
around here. Yeah.
Should
You'll see.
I want to come to a breakfast party.
Okay, we'll invite you to the next one.
Are you sure?
Sure. Let's see. We have a bunch of birthdays in,
Mine's in
I
April.
think, starting in March. Okay, April's a good month.
For April 4th.
Okay, you're in.
But my
You're
birthday
in
is on a
to the
Saturday.
April. Well, we just pick one day for the whole month and
Oh.
celebrate everybody's birthday. that
Okay.
way. I mean, Armando Laurel, he'll bring in like a skillet. You know, we'll start making pancakes.
This is fun.
It is really cool. You got to do stuff like that.
It
Hey,
is fun.
there's one other story I wanted to
Okay.
mention to you that actually was my favorite story of the day today.
Tell me.
And it comes out of a little town in California called Auburn,
Auburn,
which is
California.
up kind of in the hills up above Sacramento,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah,
I think I
yeah,
have
it
that right.
is.
Yeah. And so this is really a touching story, but a girl who I think was about 12 or 13 years old, her dad had passed away, and she wrote a message to him on a balloon and released it to go up to heaven or whatever. And she said on it, it was so sweet. It started off Dad, and then it had the message, and at the very bottom in big Sharpie it said, "I love you," with a heart. And she said, "Show me a sign that you got this." And that balloon landed 400 miles away from where it was released. So you'll have to tell me 400 miles, I don't know. I mean, that would probably be like beyond San Francisco, maybe all the way down in the
It would have to be
Southland.
south.
Yeah.
It either would have to be south or north. Because 400 miles west, it would have been in the ocean.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
either up in, I would say Oregon,
Right.
or
All the way down in
to
San
LA.
Diego or LA.
LA probably is 400
Yeah.
miles from Sacramento.
So it
or Orange County. Orange
it
County.
lands in the parking lot of a restaurant in Auburn, and somebody finds it, and they're looking at it, and they're like,
Oh, it
"What is this
landed
all-"
in Auburn.
It landed there. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
it either
So-
came from like Orange County
That's what I'm
or it
saying.
came from Oregon. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And so it lands in the parking lot, And the person is reading it, and they're like, what is this all about? So they take it to the owner of the restaurant, and they start doing some research on it, and somehow put 2 and 2 together and figure out what it's all about.
What?
I know. This is just amazing. And get this now, the whole town is coming together to, quote, give her a sign that her dad, still loves her, still cares about her, that kind of thing. They are going to send her it's not a secret or a surprise, I'm not giving anything away, because, it's on the news. But she is going to get gift certificates from the town. She's going to get notes from a lot of the townspeople.
California.
Okay.
Yeah. 436 miles.
436 miles. And so it's a local heroes restaurant. She notices the writing, and so she says on the balloon, "Happy birthday, Dad. I'll always be your little girl, Dad. Don't forget that I miss you." It's just so sweet.
I know you're with me, but I want you here for... And yeah, she does this every year. A birthday note to him in early January.
Is that what it is?
That's what it's saying. Every year since her father died.
Oh my gosh. So look at this. So the owner of the restaurant says at first we couldn't even read it because we were tearing up. But I finally read all of it. Ironically, I had literally just finished the book 5 People You Meet in Heaven, so it was kind of weird. And she found the teen on Facebook.
Well, was the girl's name on it? I guess she would have signed it because,
Ashlyn Maraschino.
Yeah.
And so, anyway. Oh, so now they've said, look at this. They've set up a Facebook page. It's called Pay It Forward in Auburn, CA. Asking the community to put this package together. Wow. I just love that story.
That is really good. That's a great story to end our webcast on. I was going to end it with weather, though. I did want to tell our viewers how lovely of a week they're going to have.
Can never miss with the weather.
I know. I mean, that was a really good story, though. I think your story is more heartwarming than the nice sunshine we're going to have next week. It'll warm our bodies, but not our souls like that story did. Yeah. Look at that. Beautiful 10-day forecast. I have no complaints because, I complain about the cold here a lot
I've noticed
on air. Because
I'm
really spoiled from California.
I know. When did you move here?
November.
Okay. Well, once you've been through that first good summer.
I'm okay with it.
Yes, I know you are. Because you lived in Fresno. It gets plenty hot in Fresno. Yep. The only thing about our summers is they do last a really long time.
I heard, It might be a lot, but there's air conditioning, I guess.
There's air conditioning.
But
this is the rumor.
I mean, look at this 10-day forecast. Average around this time is what, like 66, 67? We have above average temperatures for at least through the end of next week. It's beautiful. I'm really upset because I'm out of town this weekend and next weekend.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You going back over to Cali?
Going to LA this weekend. I have a wedding, so I leave tonight. And then, so I won't be here tomorrow, sadly. We'll have Jeff in my seat.
Oh, is that right?
Yep, Jeff Moriarty's going to be in my seat.
Good. I got some things I need to talk to Jeff about.
And then next weekend, I'm off to New Orleans for my friend's bachelorette party. The problem with my age is that I just have a lot of wedding obligations. Everyone suddenly weddings, and it's my best friend's bachelorette party. It's like, and the problem with all this stuff, it's like I'm a bridesmaid. I committed to all these things before I moved here, before I had this job.
Oh, okay.
So it's a lot of things that I'm like, okay, well, you guys are just getting all my vacation time. I don't get to take a vacation.
Yeah, really. Well, now just don't commit yourself to St. Patrick's Day weekend, because I want you to come out for when we have our St. Patrick's Day parade here in Phoenix. It's fantastic.
It's on the weekend?
Yes.
So would
it's
it be...
It's usually the Saturday right around St. Patrick's Day.
Well, see, here's the thing. I think St. Patrick's Day is actually on a Wednesday.
Okay.
So it's on a Tuesday. So would it be the weekend before that?
It probably would be on the 15th,
not the weekend
right?
after.
Yeah, or the 14th. Because I MC that parade every year.
I can be in town that weekend.
And it is a cool parade. And I'm thinking we should be doing some stuff with it on our YouTube channel.
Fox 10 News Now.
Yeah, on Fox 10 News Now. I got to be the Grand Marshal last year.
Oh, cool.
Of this parade, which I was really honored. And Sandra Day O'Connor, maybe the greatest Supreme Court justice or one of the greatest ever, she's been the Grand Marshal at that parade. John McCain, a senator. So I'm like, that is
Ron
really
Hoon.
cool. Ron Hoon. And Hoon is not
amazing.
much of an Irish name, but it's
Hooner. Hooner. I'm supposed to call you Hooner
See,
now.
that's
I remember.
great. You're on board. It
Yep,
sounds good.
I'm part of me and Merv Griffin. That is a joke from yesterday. If you
Yes.
guys go back and watch, if you didn't watch yesterday, you guys can go back and watch, me and Ron yesterday actually talk about my experience on
Price is
The Price is
Right.
Right and your experience hosting a game show.
Yeah, and I actually brought in a copy
For one
it
of the
today.
greats. Oh, you
I
did?
did. I went back and I found it because we were talking about it yesterday.
Okay, I want to play that here. I have to
Okay.
ask the bosses though if
Of
that's
course.
legal for me
Right,
to
of
play
course. We
on the
gotta run through
internet.
all of that, right.
And I'm not here tomorrow, but I want to play it when I'm here, not when Jeff's here.
Yeah.
So can I just save that for next week if I get the approval?
It is the greatest game show that never hit the air.
Okay.
It's really a fantastic game show.
It's fantastic because of the host.
Buzzword. Let's play Buzzword.
All right, Rune.
Okay.
Rune. I just called you Rune.
Rune.
I just
It
combined your
happens.
names.
It
yeah.
happens.
Runer, Ron.
Trying to save some
Runer.
syllables.
Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you have a lovely day. You're going to have a lovely day because I'm going to leave you with a look outside. That is lovely.
Wow.
It is very
Pretty cool
pretty.
city we live in.
Yep, and everyone else that's watching, thanks for watching. As always, we will see you guys next time.